Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's service today in person, and also happy Mother's Day to everyone. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. Today, in light of Mother's Day, I thought that I would talk about mothers in Buddhism. Honestly, like all of my talks, I didn't exactly know what to talk about until the last minute. I wrote this last night. So I had a lot of different ideas. One of the ideas was to go through like a list of like top like 5 moms in Buddhist stories. But since today is supposed to be a shorter service, I thought I'd just focus in on one instead. So when I guess, think about mothers in Buddhism, besides Queen Maya, of course, the Buddhist mother, the first person I typically think of is Kisa Gotami. So today I thought that I would tell the story of Kisa Gotami for Mother's Day. And if you're wondering about my ranking, I ranked her at number 3. It was Moggallana's mom, then Queen Maya, then Kisa Gotami, and then Kakushini and Nishini. But just to focus on one, today I'm just going to talk about Kisa Gotami. And if you want to know why I ranked them in that order, you can come talk to me after service or something. There's reasons, don't worry. I'm sure some of you know the story of Kisa Gotami, but this is the story of Kisa Gotami and the mustard seed. So many years ago, during the time of the Buddha, there lived a woman named Kisa Gotami. She had a son. She got married and had a son, but the son soon got sick and then passed away. In her grief, she carried her son around the village asking anyone who could help her, please, please, can you help my son? Can you help my son? Unfortunately, all members of the village were like, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm sorry, I can't help you. She went from house to house. No luck at all. Until finally, the village elder took pity on her and said, you know, Kisa Gotami, maybe you should go talk to the Buddha. As Reverend Castro always likes to say, the Buddha was known as the great physician, and so maybe the Buddha can help you. So Kisa Gotami went to the Buddha and asked, please, please, can you help save my son? Is there something that you can do? And the Buddha responded, yes, I think I can help you save your son, but I do need one thing from you first. Please bring me a mustard seed from a house that has seen no death, had no family members die. And so she said, okay, I'm going to do it. So she went out into the village looking for someone who could give her a mustard seed from a house that knew no death. The first house she went to, she asked one, please, I need help with my child. Can you please give me a mustard seed? And she said, oh, cool, of course, I have tons of mustard seeds here. But then Kisa Gotami said, wait, have you seen death in your household? And she said, oh, unfortunately, yes. My grandmother passed away just a couple of months ago. And so discouraged, Kisa Gotami said, oh, I'm sorry, I need to find a mustard seed from a house that has seen no death. And she moved on. She went to the next house and asked for a mustard seed. And the same thing. They had had a husband that passed away, a wife, an uncle, an aunt, and so on, as she continued to every house in the village. It was finally after visiting almost every house in the village that she realized that there was no escape of death, that death was a part of life. Every house that she went to had encountered death at some point in their time. It was finally after this, oops, sorry, I read the thing twice. It's finally after this that she learned the lesson of impermanence. She then returned to the Buddha, and he had asked her, have you brought a mustard seed from a house that had seen no death? And she replied, no, I have not. And further, her realization was that she realized that the Buddha had sent her on this journey to teach her the lesson instead. She then buried her child and chose to become a follower of the Buddha. While the story of Kisa Gotami is sad, it teaches the importance of impermanence. So I've talked about this before in some of my talks, but one of the lessons that I always remember from Reverend Bob was that I plus I equals log, or interdependence plus impermanence equals a life of gratitude. This is the understanding that through interdependence, or the fact that we are all connected, and impermanence, the fact that everything is always constantly changing and that nothing is permanent, can we truly live a life of gratitude and a more full life of understanding. Kisa Gotami was suffering and caught up with the death of her child, but it wasn't until she understood this important lesson that she was able to move on and her suffering ceased. If we think about the Buddha as the great physician, it mimics or outlines what the Four Noble Truths are. 1, there is there is suffering. 2, there is the cause of suffering. 3, the realization that the cause of suffering is yourself. And then finally, 4, the cessation of that suffering can be through the Eightfold Noble Path. Through Kisa Gotami's journey and the lessons from the Buddha, she was able to fully cease her suffering and finally live a more fulfilling life. So this is why I think that this is a good story and one of my favorites, because it teaches a lesson of impermanence and how we can become more grateful and value our life more. So that was my talk for today. We do have a little bit of time left, but I think I have some announcements to read. So please join me in Gassho for closing Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.